One thing is we have to start somewhere. So many times, for example, we all know that it's good to do sports. It's good for the body. Everybody knows it. We all want to do sports. But who does it every day? Yeah? Especially now, some of you might still be very young, so you naturally want to go and play football and you have some more time. But once you have family life and whatever, time becomes less and less. So you do less of the things that actually you know might be good for you.
Welcome to our channel.
Hello, welcome, namaste. So my name is Holger Yeshe. I'm from Germany, born in Germany for about 18 years. Since I was 20 years old, I was living in different countries in the world. I was traveling, and about 10 years ago, I visited Nepal and India for the first time. This is also where I met my teacher, Mingyur Rinpoche, who is born to a Nepali mother and a Tibetan father. And about 8 years ago, I became a monk.
Were you before a monk, or what inspired you to be a monk?
So when I was 20 years old, I got very much interested in meditation. Not interested, I felt it a necessity because my mind was very unhappy. I was having too many thoughts in my mind, and at the time I was thinking maybe I could learn how to meditate to be able to deal with what's happening in my mind. And this is why I first traveled at that time, that was 18 years ago, to Thailand, where I first learned how to meditate.
For you, what is meditation, and why do you think that meditation is important?
So from my personal experience, you can even say it saved my life. I was very, very unhappy. I was having a very busy mind, lots of worries, always worrying about the future, always worrying about my life, always feeling insecure. And since I started to learn how to meditate, I feel that I am able to not be completely controlled by my thinking, but that I can have a little bit of space and freedom around what the mind is sometimes coming up with.
Was it difficult for you to when you started the meditation?
So this is a good question. A lot of people, and my teacher Mingyur Rinpoche says this, nowadays think that meditation means you cannot think, you shouldn't think about anything. And I also thought that meditation is about that. So therefore, in the beginning, I thought that meditation is very difficult. So for many years I meditated, always thinking that I'm not a good meditator. Always. And I thought, oh, it's very difficult, I'm not good at it. But I still continued because I could see it helps my mind. After meeting Mingyur Rinpoche, he says, meditation is very easy. And it's not about not thinking. It's about how we relate to our thoughts and to get to know how our mind is working. That's what meditation is, not that we suddenly have a blank mind. So in this explanation, meditation actually can be very, very easy. Of course, Mingyur Rinpoche, he's a Buddhist master. He's a Buddhist teacher. I'm obviously also, being a monk, a Buddhist monk, I'm also Buddhist. But 7 years ago, Mingyur Rinpoche decided to teach his approach of meditation also in a secular context, meaning detached from religion. So even though it comes out of the Buddhist tradition, it's for everybody, no matter which religion you have, even if you have no religion. So therefore, it can be practiced by anybody. Nowadays in the world you find many, especially in Europe and in America, many mindfulness teachings. So this is very similar what Mingyur Rinpoche teaches, yet it is rooted in a tradition. But it is presented in a way that can be practiced by anybody. And the language that Rinpoche uses when he teaches meditation, and also the way when I'm leading workshops, is that we try to refrain from religious language. But we present in a way that there's no barrier between which belief you hold. But of course, if you know, as a Buddhist you want to practice, as a Hindu you want to practice, as a Muslim you want to practice, also possible. The other thing is that I mentioned now the joy of living. So Mingyur Rinpoche wrote a book called The Joy of Living. And within that book he actually shares a lot about scientific findings, like what neuroscientists nowadays find about the benefits of meditation, and also how the Buddhist view of philosophy coincides with quantum mechanics, so modern day physics. So therefore it's very much in line, not only with religion. So this is one part of your question. The other one is it also for youth? Is it for, you know, people suffering from depression, from difficulties in modern day life? You mentioned the traffic here in Kathmandu especially. Again, coming back to my personal experience, I think it's indispensable. And you could say what I suffered from when I was 20 years old. I was probably depressed. I had a lot of fear of the future. And meditation helped me personally greatly. Not forever. So it's not just meditation, you meditate and your depression is gone. Not like that. So sometimes we want to go to a doctor to help us. Sometimes people, when they're really depressed, clinically depressed, you need to sometimes take medication. But there is actually scientific research that says that doing sports and practicing meditation are two of the best methods to deal with depression. And of course the stress that we suffer, you know, in big cities, meditation greatly helps to find a way. When you're standing in a traffic jam, usually you get impatient. Now you have nothing else to do, so you can watch your breath. You can meditate, even just for 2 minutes, and therefore the traffic jam becomes a little bit less painful.
So you mentioned little bit about the workshop. So could you please little bit tell us about the workshop and that's happening around Kathmandu right now?
So maybe to mention something else before, usually my teacher Mingyur Rinpoche, he gives teachings in his monastery in Swayambhunath. But because he's very busy, and these teachings are usually more presented, or some of the teachings in a Buddhist context, what he, as I mentioned before, decided to do is teach meditation also in a secular way. And out of that, he also wished that people come together to practice meditation. So here in Kathmandu Valley, there's 2-3 groups that meet once a week to meditate together. And we discussed, and they said they would be interested to have a workshop that I would be supporting, but there will still be meditation teachings also from Mingyur Rinpoche there. So it would be a combination of teachings by Mingyur Rinpoche via video, and I would be supporting it by answering questions. We were having discussion, we will meditate together, and we will learn from Rinpoche the main methods of how to meditate. And not just how to meditate sitting down, but also how we can bring the meditation into daily life, which is even probably, you could say, more important nowadays than formal meditation. How can we be in life and yet have a calm, peaceful and open mind?
Is there a date fixed for this workshop already?
Yes, it's on Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 5.
So is it going to be happening only once, or it's going to be a long term, or?
So it's the Joy of Living workshops, it's 3 parts. So the first part focuses on calming the mind. The second workshop is focusing on opening the heart. So in this workshop we learn how to develop loving kindness and compassion and a more happy and compassionate heart. And in the third, we explore wisdom, how to see reality more clearly. So depending on the availability of facilitators like me who can lead workshops, and also the interest of the Nepali community, we will see how regular. My wish, of course, is whenever I'm in Nepal and the Nepali community wants me to lead a workshop, I'm very happy to. And then also, of course, sometimes Rinpoche himself in the monastery in Swayambhunath might also teach these teachings in person. So these are two questions. One is like different techniques of meditation, but also how meditation can help us with our worry. And is it more about worries of money, right? Yeah. So in general, again, back to my own experience, we have different kinds of worries. So now you mentioned some worries about the future, about money. Will we have enough money to pay the rent and our food? Will we get a job? So our mind is full of worries. And there's one, if I can mention a Buddhist quote from a text by Shantideva, an Indian master. And he wrote a book called the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. And in this book he says, if there is a solution to the problem, why worry? If there is no solution to the problem, why worry? But why do we meditate? Usually our worry and our mind becomes one. We become the worry. We are so stuck in our worry that we cannot see a different solution. So when you asked, can we get rid of these worries? Can we get rid of these thoughts? Impossible. You cannot get rid. If you try to get rid, it becomes worse. But what we can do is when we meditate, we get a little bit distance to the worry. So we are not completely stuck inside the worry, but we can look. And then when we look a little bit from the distance, we can look better for a solution. But if you're always in your worry, you cannot see different solutions. So therefore, what we learn with meditation is when we connect to mindfulness or awareness, naturally our mind becomes a little bit more open and flexible. Of course, with training, it doesn't happen like after 5 minutes. So we have to do again and again. And slowly we discover that there's space between the thoughts. And slowly we can manage our worries, our sometimes sadness, our anxiety a little bit better. So in this workshop, because it's only 2 days long, we cannot learn all the techniques. But we will learn how to meditate with our senses. So usually we get distracted. We are not here because of 5 senses. What we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we feel. And if we feel something, if we feel something uncomfortable, our mind goes there, right? And we don't want it. If we feel something nice, our mind goes there and wants it. Same with sound. If the smell, if there's an uncomfortable smell, we don't want it. So our mind is constantly engaged with this. And on top of that, our mind, our emotions, and our thoughts. So we are always caught in our senses or in our mind. So all these techniques that we learn in this workshop help us to use the thoughts, emotions, and the sense impressions as a support for meditation. So they don't become something that will take us away from ourselves, but that helps us to bring us back to ourselves. So we get more control of what we do, what we think, what we feel. And of course, we can incorporate all of that into daily life. So walking meditation we can do in the same way that we learn how to meditate when we're sitting down. We can also, and probably on the Sunday we will learn a little bit. We can do some walking meditation together. So all of that will be introduced. And of course, only in the Buddhist tradition, but also of course in the Hindu tradition also, there's many different meditation techniques. So of course one cannot learn everything at one time. One thing is we have to start somewhere. So many times, for example, we all know that it's good to do sports. It's good for the body. Everybody knows it. We all want to do sports. But who does it every day? Yeah? Especially now, some of you might still be very young, so you naturally want to go and play football and you have some more time. But once you have family life and whatever, time becomes less and less. So you do less of the things that actually you know might be good for you. Same with meditation. Actually, we know that we need to take care of our mind. We know. We know that we are not happy. So therefore, first we need to really understand in our heart, I want to take care. The same way that I eat 3 times a day food, the same that I wash my body, the same that I put on clothes so that I don't get a cold. In the same way, we want to take care of the mind, of the heart. So if we really understand that this is important, and when we really understand what happens when we don't take care of our mind, what is good for our mind, then we have to learn the methods to meditate. Second step. So first understand it, then learn the methods to meditate, and then do it. And we simply have to do it. The thing here is we don't have to do it for a long time. So Mingyur Rinpoche, after you completed a meditation workshop for 2 days, he usually recommends 20 minutes a day. Every day, 20 minutes of meditation. And if it's too much, you can do 2 times 10 minutes. But of course, even that you cannot do. Even if you do 5 minutes a day, it will be beneficial. So there's actually has been some studies in research of meditation and depression. And it's shown that only 20 minutes a day of meditation for 8 weeks can reduce the likelihood of depressive patients of having a relapse of depression dramatically. I think, if I remember correctly, by 40%. So people who had a clinical depression then practiced meditation, the likelihood of having another depressive episode gets reduced dramatically. So therefore, we understand why we want to meditate, to take care of our mind. Then we learn the proper techniques, how to meditate, and then we really need to do it every day. Thank you for your time.
यदि तपाईहरुलाई हाम्रो भिडियो मन परेमा लाइक, कमेन्ट, शेयर गरिदिनु होला। साझा एन्टरटेनमेन्ट च्यानललाई सब्स्क्राइब गर्न नबिर्सिनु होला।